This LPG podcast has been pre-recorded at the AAT College on 19th June and it's powered by Play Fantasy. Salutations, sports fans. Welcome to the LPG podcast. If you're looking for a fantasy sport throwdown, we provide the lowdown for laying the smackdown. This is your host and Commissioner Supreme, Guido. Folks, I'm joined here today by veterans, hardened with the experience, the know-how, the criticism, and the plaudits of making an entire podcast episode. First among them, Prem Kumar, the doctor statistic, who likened all the research and data to miniskirts. I guess that's one way to make it enjoyable. When you're looking up statistics, imagine you're looking up something else.
Hello, gaffers. It's absolutely great to be back. We're recording the second podcast now, and to have begun is to have half one. So on that note, let's begin today. We're going to discuss about the Euros and a bit of waffle about the Copa America.
True. Up next, fresh from the release of his first record hit single, we signed Mesut Ozil, which is destined to make its mark on the Billboard charts. Here's the Shankerman lending his vocal cords to the podcast.
What's up, guys? Before we begin, I'd like you all to listen to the greatest football chant of all time, brought to you by the Shankerman himself.
You sold Bale, we signed Mesut Ozil.
We have to sit through this again.
You sold
Okay, cut. I'll do you guys.
we
a
signed
Thank you.
People of Old Trafford, your champion graces us, the rational yet resolute Zishan Anis.
Hey guys, Z here. I'm happy to have another Man U brother here in the panel today. Finally, after all the biased opinions you heard last week.
That gives us one more guy to make fun of. Thank you, Z.
So let's get to this. Yeah.
And as Z mentioned, we welcome a new member to the pretentious gaffer fraternity, Mr. Ganesh Vishwanathan or Prashant or Kobe or Gopi. I guess he needs so many names because he's a United fan and he needs all these aliases to hide himself.
Thank you guys. Thank you LPG and my fellow gaffers for inviting me on the show. It's a privilege to be on the show, especially sitting next to Shanky. And, and he asked me to say that, by the way. And thank you Z again for giving that wonderful intro. And yeah, let's do this, guys.
So much manners. And last but not least, though that might be disputed in this case because he's a West Ham fan after all, the Zohammer, aka Bubble Top, Michael Pachwau.
Wow, finally he acknowledges the name Zohammer. Thank you.
This I hear is your last podcast, man. So
Yeah, for now, as a regular, hopefully, maybe I might be able to make some cameo appearances later on, maybe. Who knows?
hopefully, man, hopefully. We enjoy your presence
If you're
here.
invited, that is.
No, man, for sure. The Zohammer is always, the door is always open to Bubble Top.
Yeah,
I don't know
I-
about Zohammer guy, but Bubble Top, the door is always open to him.
I challenge you to be able to find any other hammer to come and replace me.
I challenge you to find another hammer.
So anyway, let's do this, guys. This is going to be fun.
All right, so welcome to the league, gentlemen. It's June, and there's still so much football to go around. We have the Euros, the Copa Americas, and all the transfer wheeling and dealing. And in what we anticipate to be the busiest and plainly stark raving bonkers excuse for the window. And we're going to get into all of that and more. But first up, Brazil. What in God's name happened there?
Well, actually, the Copa America, can I just start off by saying why is it called the Centenario? Because the Copa America happened just last year. Well, the Copa America started in 1916. So this 2016 edition is a special edition. It's to celebrate 100 years. It not comprises just the South American teams. It also has 6 teams from the CONCACAF, the North America. And very conveniently, the tournament takes place in the USA,
Yeah.
which is not even in South America. So it seems like more of a money-spinning exercise.
Shady
Commercial
Copa
shit.
America, yeah.
No, I'm surprised that the USA actually qualified to the semis. Well, I went through their team and, we can hardly recognize a few players.
Dempsey.
Dempsey and Jeff Cameron and Guzan, to name a few. But the rest of the players are all like homegrown, playing in the MLS. So it shows to the strength of the MLS right now that, they're able to compete against the South American teams.
This is the first time they've
Okay.
made it so far, no? This is the first.
No, they actually do pretty well in the CONCACAF region,
in
but
the Copas. This is the
Yeah.
this is the furthest they've ever.
So I'll just come back to the Brazil question,
yes,
which
please.
Vito
That's-
asked.
That's a question that I
So-
put out there for you guys.
So the very surprising thing is Brazil's win over Haiti, where they scored 7 goals, sort of colored people's opinions, but that's the only goals they scored at the Copa. They failed to score against Peru and they didn't score against Ecuador. And of course, the way they went out through that controversial hand goal by Rudiaz is extremely controversial. But the fact is, if you look at that replay, in the replay, it's very clear that he deliberately sort of pushed the ball inside the goal. But in real time, to make that call, it's just too difficult. And the entire play, the sequence which led to that goal was brilliant. If you actually see it was just straight ball from the keeper, a couple of neat touches, a cross, and they just couldn't handle it. Why was he unprotected in front of goal? I have no idea.
They're saying they deserve to get knocked out.
They did deserve to get knocked out, definitely. There's no doubt about it. The only thing is, because of the refereeing handball decision, it's all been lost in the cloud of controversies. But they haven't been very good. And not to mention Neymar clicking selfies with Bieber during the Copa didn't help them very much. He's not playing at the Copa, by the way, because Barcelona made an agreement with Brazil that he'll not represent them at the Copa, but he's going to play at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, he was there even at the NBA finals.
Yeah, with Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was sitting there taking selfies with Steph Curry and all these
Somebody's
guys.
stalking somebody.
Exchanging jerseys.
I don't know if these guys are stalking Neymar or Bieber.
But also the larger picture in all this is Brazil as a country is in a lot of crisis right now.
yeah.
some time
the,
now,
Yeah, for some time now, and there's a disconnect between the fans and the players and
the president.
the president of the federation or the president of the country.
the president of the country.
country also.
Even with the president of the federation, there's a lot of problems. The first one got jailed for corruption charges. The one who replaced him, Del Porno, I think, he also got
Del Porno. I'm not surprised.
But someone had to
I'll check
take
that
the
name
fall,
again.
so I think Dunga had to pay.
No,
the
this is
Wait,
before
did you
the
just
thing.
shoot that name out of your head? That's the first thing that came. You had to check that name again.
Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. Yeah, Dunga has been sacked as of now.
Yeah, Dunga has been sacked. And another team that has really lit up the Copa Americas
Chile.
was... No, before Chile, it was Mexico. But then we saw what happened to Mexico. And that happened today.
This month.
I
And
didn't see
there was
that.
just-
So what happened actually?
So Chile managed to score 7 goals against...
Holy!
Courtesy Alexis Sanchez.
Some of them, most of the
but
goals were Vargas.
So there's a guy who scores 4 goals, but still you say courtesy Alexis Sanchez.
You are a good
That's
understanding.
right.
Yeah.
Arsenal players.
So Eduardo Vargas.
Let's be more subtle, man. Shanky, let's be a little more subtle.
Man, that's me.
So he scored 4 goals.
Yeah.
Edward. So he plays for Hoffenheim. He's played 1,500 minutes for them this season as a forward, and he only scored 2 goals
Oh,
all season. And
That shows what Sanchez can do to you, dude.
Yeah, clearly, man, clearly.
I think one other thing which we can see from this Copa is that it's giving a lot of players who didn't have that much good league season a chance to be able to put some, I don't know, value to their own contracts. Because even our player in Ecuador was Valencia from West Ham also. He was one of their leading goal scorers until then, but he never scored properly for us this season too. So
I think that's true for every international tournament. No? Like club form doesn't carry over to international play. You see people like Mario Götze and all getting a run in the German team and he hasn't done anything all season.
True. So that provides us with the perfect segue to get
can
into
we just
the Euros.
get a word in about David Ospina if you're okay?
If you'd like.
Yes.
If you'd like to.
So Colombia made it through, and
Yeah.
and David Ospina made.
Oh, Spina.
So what, you guys are going to play 2 keepers next season?
No, it doesn't matter. We're still happy. He's a part of the Arsenal team. But the fact is, okay, there's an interesting statistic by Simon Cooper which says that the team taking the penalty second in a shootout only has a 40% chance of winning it.
How does that work?
The team whoever takes the first kick has a 60% chance of winning the shootout.
Is that mathematical?
Mathematically,
probability?
yes.
Seriously?
Seriously. And who took the first kick? Colombia. James Rodriguez. And he scored.
Oh,
So
So no, there's actually a toss-up for the penalty shootout. You get to choose who goes first and
I'd
second.
like to.
And
Yeah, I
get
guess
to know the
a
detail
mental
of how the
aspect of
probability
it.
works, though.
Yeah.
it's based on all the research. They've seen all the penalty shootouts, and whichever team goes first has a 10% advantage. So if you win the toss, you have to choose to take the shootout first.
All right, so let's get into the competition that's making all the headlines in our circles at least. This LPG podcast has been pre-recorded at the AAT College on 19th June, and it's powered by Play Fantasy. So the Euros is making all the headlines, so let's just get into that now, shall we? So to start us off though, we're gonna go in the reverse order because that's the latest match that has been played. So to set us up with Group F is going to be the doctor statistic.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Group F today, and why? Because the matches happened last night as we record on a Sunday morning. So the most talked about match, I think I'll go with Portugal versus Austria. Sorry. So this ended 0-0, and karma is such a, we won't say what the word is, but
Karma is a
so Ronaldo, he missed the penalty. He didn't even get it saved. He actually missed it. It was off target.
It hit the post, by the way. Okay.
That's a miss. Keeper saves it. It's a different issue. And but otherwise, he actually had a decent match. He had, I think, how many shots was it, Michael? 10 shots?
10 shots, but I think only one on target, no?
Yeah, 10 shots and 3 shots on target from that.
Three?
So, but Austria, I think, weren't they one of the dark horses for the tournament? We all picked them.
Yeah.
Even on Twitter, many teams, I wouldn't say teams, I would say many pundits were calling them the team as a dark horse. And they've been disappointing. Yesterday, they had just 4 shots and just 1 shot on target throughout the match.
So wait, to get this clear, Portugal have had 10 shots on target.
No.
0 goals.
Okay.
Yeah, and 1 sore loser.
No, let me just change that.
Very funny, Vito. Very funny.
Cristiano Ronaldo himself had 10 shots. Whereas the entire of the Austrian team had just 4 shots. Okay. And so I think Austria have to be one of the biggest disappointments of this tournament. You know?
Yeah, I can see that. But considering where they've come from, I'm sorry. So considering where they've come from, they've risen from 105 from the last Euros. This was the Switzerland and Euro. You know, they were the host nations.
Yes.
Yeah, so they were ranked 105 then, and they've grown themselves to where they are now. So I guess that there was a lot of expectation from them.
Okay, may be true, but if you notice the Hungary match when they failed to win against them, and at the end you noticed Arnautovic crying. It was almost as if they had been eliminated. I mean, okay, you go into a tournament picking a match saying this is the match where we're going to get 3 points. Yeah. But I think they had too much of hopes pegged on that one match.
I think they started that game well also. I think Alaba took a shot, hit the post.
Yes, they started. No.
It's a derby game as well. Austria-Hungary is always going to be a derby game.
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make. Did they just shoot themselves in the foot because they thought that was the match and, they lost it, so they just
I think the way the tournament is this time, I think all 4 teams still have a chance of going through. So I think it's
I'm a big fan of this.
But who would have thought that Hungary would be topping this group? That is phenomenal. And there is almost no way that they'll be going out of the tournament now. They have a 90% chance of going through irrespective of any result in the final day.
I think a lot of big players have been underperforming in that group too. No, not just Ronaldo. I think Alaba was expected to be the main guy for Hungary, for Austria. But then he's been pedestrian at best. I think so. Last night's match. He didn't even figure, at least to what I saw.
You think there are any other players out there within this group which caught your eye? Do you think that some big club should come in there and buy these guys? Arnautovic is one that obviously a lot of people were looking at. He's not really committed to Stoke either.
Well, I think Hungary's Klein Hessler, he's 22 years old and he's playing for Werder Bremen right now.
Okay.
And his value is only 600,000 on the transfer market.
Yeah.
But I think he had a phenomenal game yesterday and he was very impressive on the first game also.
Okay.
So I think he'd be a guy who would
Where
be
does he
making
play though? I'm not too sure about this game.
He plays in the attacking midfield winger.
Oh, is he the guy who chipped that goal? Is he that guy?
The first match?
match?
No. He didn't score a goal. But
I'm a bit lost with all these Hungarian names.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry.
I'm a fan of the Hungarian goalkeepers.
Yes.
We have to cover that. That's a fashion statement right there.
I mean, that's classic stuff, man. You see that in like 80s or 70s or something.
He's a 60-year-old he's a 40-year-old who looks like a 60-year-old playing a 30-year-old's game, man. Not bad.
I think he's named Kirali.
Kirali.
Okay.
Gabor Kirali.
And I don't think we can finish this group without a shout out to Iceland.
Yeah.
Phenomenal achievement.
They should have been top of the group last night if not for that late concession.
I'm
of that
surprised
goal.
we
but Hungary
spoke
had-
more about Arnautovic than we did about
That's true.
Ronaldo. I mean, I set you up with the sore loser bit. You just didn't bite. Prem Kumar, you didn't bite.
Ronaldo is just a preening peacock. I just hate him. There is nothing to say
See,
about
Messi
him.
fans, yeah, exactly. That's the whole point, right? Messi fans hate Ronaldo, and it's
No,
it's the same thing. You get the same hatred back.
No,
I hope we had a video telecast of this because you can see Kobe like flaring up right now.
This Messi versus Ronaldo debate is an entire podcast by itself, and I don't think either of them are
But
deserving
No,
to be
I for
over
one,
the
I'm
other.
irritated. I see when we were watching the match, also people were saying Cristiano Ronaldo, look, he's not as good as Messi. Look at
Yeah,
him. Not
that is-
I don't. Why? Why? We're watching
It's
the
jealousy.
Euros.
It's jealousy. It's just jealousy, dude.
No, I'm not even going to compare them right now. They're completely different players, especially right now at this point in their career. But Ronaldo does over commit to a lot of things that he's not good enough in doing. Like, why does he still take the free kicks?
Why does he still take the free kicks, dude?
He has one of the worst conversion rates in the past 3 years.
Fair enough. I'll agree with Mike.
Obviously, all you Messi fans will have to agree
No,
whatever
has
goes
nothing to do
against
with Messi
Ronaldo.
fan.
no, I actually value Ronaldo as a player, but I think Prem's got a statistic for you that's gonna blow your minds.
So Cristiano Ronaldo has 34 attempts from free kicks for Portugal, and how many has he scored?
Zero.
Zero. And this, especially when taken in light that Bale just scored 2 free kicks for Wales, and I think it's a fair
Okay,
point
now
to say.
Now, since you're talking about country, now you tell me one more player whom Portugal can rely on for taking free kicks apart from Ronaldo.
Moutinho, he was the man of the match yesterday.
He was the man of the match, but I don't think he can like convert everything.
We
Why
don't
not?
know
Why
because
not?
he's the
Have the
only
same
one who's
conversion
taking.
rate.
How do we know?
Yeah, he's taking everything.
If he takes everything, how would you know if there's somebody else who can take it
If
up?
I remember correctly, Quaresma also takes free kicks.
I'm sure
he does.
people take free kicks, man. They're all professional footballers.
But here I'll have to disagree with you guys. Dude, the coach will decide all that. Coach is
No,
seen
no,
him in
no.
training.
See,
No, he's been given free reign.
Macha,
How do
a
you know
coach
all
is
that?
not going to like pull rank on Ronaldo. Okay. What we are really getting at is that a guy is constantly trying. He has not achieved success 34 times in international games. So, it's time that he calls spade a spade, and we move on to the next group. Kobe.
Can we just, there's one last thing that I want to put in. This is actually in correlation with what Vito mentioned earlier with Arnautovic and this thing. I know we're talking about them a lot, but there was one point, I don't know whether you guys caught it. There was one time when Alaba was going to take a free kick and him and Arnautovic had a kind of a disagreement. And Alaba nearly followed him to continue the agreement. No one caught that. Was I the only one who caught that?
Yes. So
You
no one
look
gives
for
a
We
the
fuck.
watch
small
football,
things.
Mikey, not the drama.
Anyway, yeah.
Mikey is a fan of Korean
Chumma, don't let
sitcoms.
that West Ham fan come and
just so
talk,
you
dude, in
know.
between.
Okay,
Don't
I'm
tell
just,
him.
I'm just saying there's
but
some drama there.
Yes, that's an interesting observation.
Very
and
interesting.
That could be one of the reasons why this Euro and the Copa celebrates the spirit of a team. I think we are seeing that in all
Did
groups.
they at least do rock, paper, scissors before deciding on it or not? They didn't, no?
All right, then. So, Group E it is with Ganesh Vishwanathan.
Kobe, Gopi, Prashant.
Okay, so Group E. So according to me, Italy, according to me, were the obvious favorites, and I think they have been disappointed, and they have like lived up to their expectations. The strikers that they used to have previously, I think, and the strikers that they have right now, there's a lot of difference, and I think only Pele is the one they can like completely rely on, and I think he did prove his point when he played in the first game. So any of you guys have any thoughts about Italy?
Right wing back Candreva, I think his name is.
Yeah, he's
number
been
6.
bombing on a
Yeah,
lot.
he was really good. And the system which Conte is playing, is it a 3-5-2?
Yes,
Yeah,
3-5-2.
yeah.
3-5-2.
It's a 3-5-2.
3-5-2.
And
Wing backs.
that relies on the Juventus defense, of
Yes,
course.
yes.
And I
So
think it's been
the four
brilliant.
players
Four
from
players,
Juventus
yeah.
who form the core of the defensive.
Yes.
The defensive part of it is pretty much covered. One of the ones who stood out over there was Bonucci with that brilliant pass that he gave.
Yeah.
Yes.
And another thing that you might not know about Bonucci is in 2012 there was a mugging incident that happened, and a man pulled out a gun
Yeah.
On Bonucci? Okay.
and he disarmed him.
Oh my God, that's
badass.
crazy.
Yeah, that's like badass. I mean, that's what you need on a defender.
There was a striker in the Mexican league who got kidnapped, and then he, fought his way out of the entire thing and came back out.
Chicharito?
It was very not Chicharito.
Chicharito.
He's a
Yeah.
small time player.
So wait, are we concluding that Italy is a more defense-oriented team?
No,
which is-
Italy is more of a surprise package. Personally, I was pipping Belgium to top this group.
Of course.
Yeah,
But
not
not
the
so
team they have
underperformers.
on paper, but the way Italy performed against Belgium, the
Tactical
tactics, yeah.
masterclass.
See, I think Italy have the experience because they've been previous World Cup winners and they carry out the experience. They have like good players who have already been playing the World Cup and playing the other teams who are like helping the other players cope up as well.
Also Conte, brilliant.
Chelsea
has
fans
been
must
good.
be.
No, like
Chelsea
Guido,
fans will be
like
really
Guido
excited.
pointed out, no, those 4 people they played at Juventus.
they've
They're like
played
they were born together, man.
They've won 7 consecutive league titles
yes,
together.
yes.
7 titles.
Barzagli,
So that
Bonucci,
obviously
Chiellini
goes a
and
long
Buffon.
way to.
But Italy didn't do much against Sweden, and I think Sweden are one of the worst teams at the tournament.
No, not
No,
really. See,
In terms of in attacking wise, yeah.
they
because
got a
they're just
result through,
flat.
and I think that's what matters. It was one of the most boring games to watch.
Yeah.
The Italy versus Sweden game was really boring.
Yeah.
But they got a result through.
Yeah, and the thing is that Sweden don't have a single shot on target the entire tournament. I think they're the
Wow.
only
See, there you
team
go.
that
says it
go
all
without
for
having
Zlatan,
any.
doesn't
Yes,
it?
I
The
think
only
yes.
goal they scored was
Zlatan to United. Zlatan to
Zlatan
United.
United.
Yeah, we are waiting for that. And when that happens, I think people will know what his worth is actually.
And also, I'll put my hands up and say I was one of the people who thought Conte to Chelsea, meh. But after seeing Italy at this World Cup, I think I have to say
Euros. We are the Euros.
Oh, sorry, the Euros. I have to say Conte is much better than I
Yeah,
thought.
Chelsea
But
fans
I
must
think
be
the-
excited about this. Yeah.
Yes,
Dude,
exactly.
but the Premier League, the defense he has at Chelsea and all, what Terry, Zuma, Cahill, you can't compare them to
who
these.
knows,
people.
That's the thing. They're not focusing on their defense.
No, but
They're
he has
playing a
better
very
attacking
vibrant
players at
attacking
Chelsea.
Yeah.
style.
Dude, they set the base. Bonucci, Chiellini, and Barzagli set the base for everything. For,
everything
their
else,
ball
yes.
playing
True.
See, so
midfielders.
So but basically, you can judge
See,
a
for
manager
one
by
thing,
what he's got.
exactly.
So,
One thing is Italian midfield ravaged by injuries. Okay, they lost out on Verratti, they lost out on Marchisio, two important players, and they've still gotten someone who plays for Lazio. You know, Manuel Parolo and some other guys,
Giaccherini,
who couldn't get a name, who
Yeah.
couldn't get a
Sunderland,
game in
Sunderland.
for Sunderland. I mean, he's doing some, I wouldn't expect.
I had
the
him in my
things that
fantasy
he's pulling
football
off.
team, by
Yeah,
the
you
way.
did.
Yeah,
So I
but,
didn't
I
expect
had to sell
the
him.
things that he's pulling off from a player who couldn't get into a team that was
Yes.
fighting the relegation battle. And apart from that,
So I
What
think,
about Belgium yesterday?
Yeah, guys, did you guys watch that 28 goal pass?
Yeah, see, the thing is, Belgium did have coped up their humiliating loss. I think they have the strongest team on paper, and I think even on field, I practically
After
believe.
dropping Fellaini?
he was the best player in the first game, by the way.
But yet they dropped
but
him
yet they felt
and
the
they won
need
the
to
match.
drop him.
So Mark Wilmots as a coach was under a lot of pressure because he was one of the guys who was the statisticians think he's a bad manager.
Yes.
But yesterday's result, I think, just may have saved his job.
I think
No,
Shanky is of that same opinion. He was talking about Wilmots
Yes,
being
but then
not a
credit
great
to him
manager.
again because the second game he
Yeah.
changed the lineup
Yeah,
and all
he
that.
changed the
knew,
formation
he knew what he
also,
was
I think.
missing attacking wise. There was no goal threat in the first game, and then he brought in Dembele instead of Fellaini, which was the
Yeah, it was
right
much
decision.
No,
more
he
fluid.
brought in Carrasco also. And
Carrasco,
he
Yeah,
moved,
he got in
did really well.
Carrasco.
he
right.
moved De
He kept
Bruyne
on
to
like-
the middle.
middle.
Yeah, which is perfect.
Yeah.
He worked very well.
And I think they had a change
Credit
even
to
in
him
their
for that.
right back also, because the right back in the
No,
first
no,
game was
Simon
did play in the
second game as well.
Okay,
He did play
but
the
I
second
think
game
he
as well.
ought to have been dropped after his very poor performance.
Yeah, but surprisingly so, a lot more attacks have come down from the right hand side for Belgium. Surprisingly so.
And also, if you notice, Lukaku after a goal celebration ran straight to Wilmots and hugged him.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
I think that says he's probably a good man manager, better man manager than we give him credit for.
We pay a lot of attention to these things. we pay a lot of attention to these things. We're like drama mongers here.
And I think Lukaku would have been like very relieved after his first game. I think he was very frustrated in the first game.
And
to
he's
notice
one of
weight
the
off his shoulders,
strikers
yeah.
that if he goes on a run, he can go a long way. He doesn't stop scoring when he goes on a run.
All right, then that's Group E for you. So let's get into the Group of Death. You have Spain, Croatia, Czech Republic, and Turkey. And Turkey is the team that has really disappointed me. But let's start talking about the better teams first. Let's start talking about Spain, and they've done really well. I was not a big fan of Nolito playing on the left wing. I thought Pedro was probably a better fit after the first game.
Most of us
Nolito
thought that,
kept
I
getting
guess, yeah.
caught offside a lot. You know, didn't really appreciate him as a player. And Alvaro Morata, he
Arsenal.
I hope he joins based on his performances.
And talking about Nolito, I just read an article saying that Man City are in the bid to land Nolito.
Yeah.
As
So
soon as
I'll tell you
possible.
another thing that happened. In around 2013, there was an interview where Nolito says, "I don't like England. I don't like the food there. I don't like the weather there." And
But he likes Guardiola there, no?
that's the only thing they can sell. They can sell for, man. And besides that, Morata, he's been brilliant. I mean, I've really enjoyed watching him. He runs the channels really well, and he keeps the defenders thinking. He plays off the last man. He's good with his head, which is something
All-round
not a lot.
striker, I
Yeah, he's
think
an
so,
all-round striker, and you couldn't justify keeping Diego Costa out before the tournament.
No,
but now he
Torres,
has.
in fact.
Or Torres, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
going to this tournament, we would have. We weren't thinking that much of Spain. We thought France and Germany were the main favorites.
Yeah.
Spain were a
Spain
third.
lost its luster along the way they did.
That's a good point.
And,
No, but Iniesta's having a big impact this.
Oh, he's
Dude,
a
at this
magician.
age,
He's
yeah,
a magician.
I mean, crazy, man. That guy's won like 33, 34 titles, I think, in his
Class is
career. That's
permanent.
crazy.
Another thing I thought I'll say about Morata is his hairstyle. No, so
Similar to yours,
Laugh-
no hair there.
laughter aside, so he did this for cancer children.
Oh,
Yeah. So
Respect.
apparently a lot of children wanted his hairstyle, and they couldn't do it themselves. So he thought, so that speaks volumes of the guy. So I'm sold. Morata
to Arsenal. That's what I was just waiting for. That I was just waiting for this video.
Yeah. But besides that, the rest of the players also have gelled really well.
But
in
I don't think
Spain.
Shanky agrees to your point wherein Arsenal can get Morata.
But
I think
did you
he
see
has his
the
disagreements on
Croatia
that.
I'd
Czech
fancy.
Republic match yesterday?
So rest of the team also have done pretty well there. Alba and the wing backs is where a lot of Spain's attack is coming from. So that's Spain for you. And apart from that, Croatia has also been really good. Modric is real. The midfield of Croatia is brilliant. I mean, that's one of the top class midfields. Wenger already gave a shout out for them to be the
dark
horses.
Yeah.
So they've got a really good midfield. Mandzukic is a bit blunt. He hasn't scored in
No,
the
but
past
he's
13
the focal point. No, so
Yeah,
all
yeah.
his attacks come through
him.
him. Yeah.
They do come
He's
through him,
slightly like
but he
Giroud, you
scored
could say,
one
yeah.
goal in 13 matches. So that's a bit poor
Yeah,
for
but
a
it doesn't matter
striker
when
of
you
his
have
class.
Rakitic, Perisic
Yeah,
around him.
that's the-
Mandzukic is a poor man's Giroud, I'd say.
But so let's just also touch on what happened. With the flares and everything. Very
horrible.
it's
I
not
think it was
something
very
that has a
disturbing.
place in football. And I think that kind of like unsettled the
Definitely.
Croatian
Definitely.
team.
They cost them the
Yeah.
match without a doubt.
For sure. And
That and Modric's substitution. both.
Modric went off in 60 minutes. He limped
Yeah.
off, so let's just hope he's still fit for the rest of the
if
tournament.
Croatia needs to get somewhere, then they probably hope.
They have to have.
Unfortunately.
And how could they concede a 2-goal lead, right? I mean, it's not a nice thing. It's for a team to concede a 2-goal lead in the second half. And so I had to check, and Chorluka, who is a very technically gifted defender, really good
Yeah.
defender, and he stands out more times than not. He has not made a single tackle in the competition.
Oh,
See, I beg to differ with you on that point. Some of the best defenders don't make tackles.
He's made a lot more
They make
clearances.
interceptions.
Yes, and not just that. Even if you see Eric Dyer for England, the way he plays is they judge play well.
But you
Yeah.
compare this to Group E, right? The Italians.
Yes.
They knew when to make a foul, when to make a tackle, and they knew how to carry a result through. They knew how to hold it. Now, that's what... So, Chorluka is pretty much a nice guy. So, one of the stories about Chorluka is, one of his waiters approaches him, and he comments on his watch, right? It's a $36,000 diamond-encrusted watch. And Chorluka swaps that watch with the waiter.
Whoa.
He just gives him the $36,000 watch, and he takes his $150 watch instead.
we don't.
So the
Bringing out
research
the
you did is
humanitarian
basically
stuff.
haircuts and watches.
Yeah, humanitarian stuff.
You do the stats, man. I'm gonna give you the wealth of the character depends on.
Okay, but then that Croatian thing, I think Prem had something, some story about how the
Yeah.
Croatian.
So basically, people are wondering why were Croatian fans throwing the flares when Croatia were actually winning and at their own teammates. The thing is, there is actually a group of ultras within the Croatian fan base who are basically fighting against the Croatian Federation.
Okay.
Yes.
The president of the Croatian Federation is Davor Sukar. I think you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
would have heard of him.
Yeah. Legend.
And,
Not really though. He didn't really do so well for us.
and the vice president is the guy who's been embezzled in. He's basically embezzling funds from Dinamo Zagreb. His name is Mamic. So he and Davor Sukar are the whole of the country wants them out of the federation, but they're obviously not giving up their post. Very interesting thing is in their qualifying match against Italy, which was actually behind closed doors because no fans were allowed. Someone had actually sprayed chemicals on the ground, which magically turned up in the middle of the match to reveal a swastika symbol. The swastika, Hitler's symbol. Yeah. So they actually did that so that they were hoping the Croatian team would be banned from Euros itself.
Oh.
But instead, UEFA just gave them punishment that the further matches would be played behind closed doors.
Are UEFA going to take any action on them for this
I
incident?
don't think so. I think most of the players have, pleaded with the UEFA and such. So, okay, I'm emotionally invested in one of the other teams in this group, so I need to like talk about them.
Yes.
Turkey. I've been like a big fan
Yes.
of Turkey. I'm also a fan of Galatasaray, and I've been following like all since 2004 when you had Hasan Sas and Hakan Suka, and so this squad, I had a lot of hopes pinned on this squad. I thought they were going to go somewhere. And you had some really good players, Karanoglu, Turan. They had weight, but I was really disappointed in the backline. All right.
I think we are confusing two issues here. The Turkish league as a whole is getting better. I agree. The clubs are getting better. But I don't think the national team is getting any better.
No, there are some really
No,
good
there are
players.
some good
Those
players,
players
yes.
are really technically gifted. No, I'll tell you where the crux of the problem lies.
Okay.
Okay, so it had to do with the defense.
Yes.
So Mohamed Topal, who was one of the central defenders there, so he gave up the first goal against Spain. Though he tried to knock back against the goalkeeper. That guy essentially plays as a central defensive midfielder.
Okay.
So he was slotted in there as a shot measure by Fatih Terim, who's considered the emperor in Turkey.
Yeah.
So I didn't look if there were any other centre back alternatives that Turkey could have taken to the tournament. And one of those alternatives was Omar Toprak, who plays for Leverkusen along with Kalanoglu.
Okay.
Okay, so this guy is a Turkish national team player, but there was a problem. And this problem, I'm telling you, is all like filmy style problem.
Is
Again.
it has to do with hairstyle
Or
or
what?
watch?
This one's bigger.
Or a gun though.
Oh, this one's got guns, bro.
Okay.
So what happened was, Toprak and Kalanoglu were sitting in their hotel room with one of their friends, right? And
Friends within quotes.
no, friend. It's a guy friend.
Yeah.
Okay, another
good
guy
haircut.
friend, dude. Mr. Ponero, whatever it is. Don't get carried away, man. Like,
Del porno.
Del porno.
the story doesn't lead that way, dude. So they were there in the hotel room with the friend, and then Mikey, you're gonna be interested in this one. Gökhan Tore,
Yeah.
the guy you mentioned the last time. Well, apparently Toprak's friend was cheating on his girlfriend. So Tore enters with another friend of his, and he pulls out a gun on Toprak and Karanoglu.
So is that why he was dropped from the squad?
That is why he was dropped from the squad. So that is why Tore was dropped from the squad, and there's been a problem. There's been friction between Fatih Terim and Toprak.
The only thing that I'm getting from this is if this is the reason why we're getting him cheap, then I'm happy. Because we're getting him cheap. That's what I've heard.
Stay away from John Terry. Tore, stay away from John Terry. You do not trust that man.
And Ryan Giggs.
Yeah, Ryan Giggs also. Bloody United, fellas.
Cheap ass.
All right, then Group C. Let's move on. This LPG podcast has been pre-recorded at the AAT College on 19th June, and it's powered by Play Fantasy.
Cool, then let's move on to Group C. They have Germany, Poland, Northern Ireland, and Ukraine. I think most of us pretty much thought Germany would run through it and finish on 9 points with 3 victories. Easy peasy for them and all that. But I think Poland gave us a surprise of sorts when they drew. There was a stalemate with Germany a couple of days ago. So what do you guys think? I mean,
See, I'm not a big fan of Germany playing with the false nine and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They should have gone with a proper striker. Start Gomez if you're
Correct.
taking him.
So the thing what they said about goods.
correct. So what exactly what Z was saying, I was going to say something about that. So what bewilders me is how a nation like Germany, which clearly has the formula for churning out talent, like top-notch talent, like, we have seen over the past few years,
Yeah.
how they've come up short when it comes to two crucial positions. That is your attacking fullback, and both the left back and the right back, and your striker.
Yeah.
So for years together, we haven't seen quality in those two positions. So
Lam.
apart from Lam, that's
But
what.
then-
Apart from now, since Lam's gone.
Hmm.
So what actually is there's a complete drop of quality when compared to the other positions. For other positions, if you see, there's enough backup, decent backup. If you look at the central midfield, you have Schweinsteiger, Gundogan,
They had
Emre Can, and Kramer for
they had the
backup.
option of leaving Royce out.
Right,
So
right.
that's how good
So
their
in
this
the
team
attack
is.
midfield, they had Royce, Sane, Shirley as backup. All these are decent backup. And
Yeah.
centre back, Hummels didn't start the first game. Mustafi played there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Hummels was the backup there, and then they had Rudiger. So it's all decent in all those positions: centre midfield, attacking midfield, and centre back. But then when it comes to these wing backs, they're playing Hector, who's a nobody. He's 22 years old, something. They need stars there, man. I mean, those are crucial positions. So Philip Lahm's shoes are big shoes to fill, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, now what they're doing is if you see the World Cup a couple of years back, what Joachim Low did was he played at one point up to the Algeria game or whatever. He played all 4 centre backs. There was no wing back, and he thought that would suffice. But then Algeria game was sort of a reality check for him, and then he realized he had to play Lahm back in his position. Till then, Lahm was playing midfield for him.
Yeah.
So then he pushed Lahm back to the right wing, and yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then they bet Brazil 7-1.
yeah, and then they beat Brazil.
Yeah, closer played that game, I think, no?
Yeah.
So they need some focal point, someone who's an out-and-out striker. I think they've left out this striker from Hoffenheim, Kevin Volland.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
He's their only recognized out-and-out striker who they've left behind just in, to take Götze, for instance.
Yeah.
And I think considering the Poland game, I think Germany have been Poland's bunnies always, and I think they have not performed up to their expectations against Poland. Poland, though they have lost, but they still have, been neck to neck, and I think they are taking Poland for granted every time they play against them.
Yeah.
So I think that's where Germany have to focus.
Okay. That being said, did you guys see the video of Joachim Low?
Yeah. I think everyone did that.
And Poldy even
What
vouched
a
for
guy.
his coach. I mean, Podolski, he spoke out in a press conference
What
Yeah.
did he say?
saying everyone
Everyone
scratches
scratches
those
their
balls.
balls,
Don't they know? 80%. He even gave us some stats.
He did that even the last game. He didn't. He was a little more discreet. He went for his armpits.
See, no one would have commented it was just stopped with the ball scratching in. He had to take his fingers and sniff it after that.
Forget
No,
the sniffing.
no,
He-
you guys are missing something that happened. First, it was the ball scratching.
Yep.
And then, to get into the technicalities, he went behind also.
He went behind.
He went behind and then smelled it. So he did the double.
He did the double. He did the double there, and then he pulled a hat trick when he pulled out a booger from his nose and ate that.
Okay, I
I
haven't
mean,
seen
that was
this.
all. I mean, like,
Dude, I think you're
Holy Trinity,
exaggerating.
man.
I think you're exaggerating over
I
there.
haven't
Did
seen
that
this.
really
No,
happen?
No. There is a booger
You're the only
video.
one.
I'm
Huh?
checking
Booger
this
video
out.
also is there.
You mean the unholy trinity?
So yeah, coming back to what
The
I was
football,
talking about.
hopefully,
Yeah. So coming back to
Sorry, I
what,
went there.
what I was talking about, the two crucial positions. Do any of you think? I mean, what could be the reason? I think it is just mere
one of the
probability or
things
cycle or
that
something.
Lehman pointed out, Jens Lehman, was that Götze is capable of taking on and beating 2 players.
Okay.
So that sort of creativity he gives you in the final third. So that's what they felt
but
they
you
needed
di-
more. If the
Yeah, but
ball
you
is
don't-
being played
you need
into
a
the
focal
path,
point.
But
if the
someone
ball
who's
is being
played-
played into the path of Götze, he will be able to take on 2 players, shift them either left, shift them either right, and take the shot.
Wouldn't we really want to see Muller up there in front and then
Yeah,
have
I know
Shirley
I know
or
it's not
Sane,
working
Leroy
out.
Sane?
I
Give
know it's
Lar-
not working out, but that was the
There's one thing
That was
I
the
don't know,
idea
I think,
behind
Shanky
this.
mentioned this in the last podcast that I was actually a bit disagree. No, wait, not in the podcast, but you mentioned it in the last time that we met. He said that he doesn't believe striking is an actual skill. I actually think it's so important to have a finisher there, to have a focal point. I don't care if you can beat people. You need to be able to have the composure and the ability to be able to put it into the back of the net. And you have a guy like Gomez also. You've taken him. Why don't you play him and see whether it works out as a focal
Gomez
point
has
player?
been playing his trade in the Turkish league.
No, it doesn't matter. You still have taken him.
No, he's the only forward they've taken to the
that's,
Euros.
no, that's
so-
only for an alternative. It's a plan B. The plan A is still Götze.
Yeah, but plan A is not working.
Yeah,
so, they
so
need
we'll see what to do.
So Arsene Wenger had once
it's not
said,
that it's not working. I mean, they've had the victories.
one victory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
One.
it's okay. It's not a bad
No,
start.
and plus you have to understand this.
Germany usually start off slow. They've had this.
True.
They know how to churn out
Yeah,
results.
World Cup winners, so you can't really say.
Say much. Who else is there in that squad?
No, Northern Ireland and no. you
The
mean
squad or the group?
I mean the group. Sorry.
Yeah,
Germany,
Northern Ireland.
Poland, Northern Ireland, and Ukraine.
Right now, as it stands, Germany might not even be the leaders in their group because Germany have a match with Northern Ireland, I think so. Or was it Ukraine? Ukraine have a match with Poland,
Yes.
right? And so Poland and Germany are right now on equal points.
Yes,
Or
they're on
Germany
4 points. Yeah, they're on 4
goal
points
difference
each.
is the only thing.
And
So,
Northern Ireland is in 3 points.
yeah.
No, no, no. At this point, can I just say that if two teams finish on same points in a group, the first thing that will be see is the head-to-head
Head-to-head.
result.
Yeah,
Oh,
head-to-head.
The
I
second
think
thing-
there was a draw.
Yeah, Poland and Germany had
Then
a
they go to
draw.
goal difference.
Yeah, so only then you go to
Go to the
goal
goal
Yeah, so
difference.
then it's going to be goal difference now.
And then it's goals scored.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's goals against.
Yeah,
All
and
that
since
comes
and since Ukraine is right now the worst team according to form in the Euros,
Yeah.
you would expect Poland to be able to put in quite a few against them.
There's
No,
no
especially when you have Lewandowski playing up top, you need to try and feed him in the box,
Exactly.
not outside.
But actually, Milik was their most threatening player for.
Poland have scored quite a number of goals in qualifying, actually, haven't they?
Yes.
Yeah, and
they're
Podolski
one of
is
the leading
like the
goal
top
scorers.
scorer, one of the top scorers in the qualifying.
Who?
Lewandowski.
Sorry, Lewandowski. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, Lewandowski.
But then, let's just finish off the group with
Yeah.
say, a little bit about Northern Ireland.
Okay.
I'd like to talk
Yeah.
about this Michael O'Neill guy. That guy is too defensive, man. He plays like his formation is basically a 4-5-1, wherein four defenders, 3 of which are centre backs already. Where Johnny Evans playing left back,
Yeah.
and the part of the 5, the wing backs or the full backs or whatever. Those guys are also defensive minded. There you have Paddy McNair, that fucktard who injured Wilshere. That guy who injured Wilshere, man, with a horrible tackle. So that guy is playing left
Wheelchair,
back.
you mean?
Jack Wheelchair.
Yeah, Jack Wheelchair. Dude, the saddest pick, dude. Yeah. So
A lot of beeped out moments.
So yeah, they have potentially they're playing with 6 defenders, man. Who does that? I mean, this is
They're
one
playing to
up.
their strengths.
He's getting one over Tony Pulis, man. Who does this?
You're talking about a team that
Which
is
isn't
playing the
strong.
Euros while Netherlands couldn't get in. I mean, Northern Ireland is not a great team. But like you said, Paddy McNair is actually there in a squad, man. Like some Euros
Oh,
squad.
he got subbed off in the 45th minute, by the way. He was so poor.
For good
and
measure.
he got robbed, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he's good only against Arsenal, dude.
He's not even there in Man United, right? You guys sold him
If you
off.
consider
no,
breaking
he's
legs,
he's still there,
good.
he's still there.
Yeah.
I'd like to add that a player to watch out for from Poland is Kapucka, who plays for Cracovia. He's a 19-year-old guy, and he's been making waves.
Has he played yet?
He's just
Yeah.
trying to show off.
Yeah,
He couldn't say Czech probably last to this thing.
Yeah,
and
he
suddenly he
plays-
pulls out Polish names real perfectly. where are these coming from, man? Where are these coming
so
from?
that guy plays on the left, as a part of the 4-4-1-1 formation, which this Poland Adam Noranka uses or whatever. So, and then there's one more guy to look forward to. I mean, he might be a potential candidate for the young player. Like I
Yeah,
said.
yeah, that's something we
Milik.
do later.
Milik,
We'll save that
We'll
name
go
for
to that
later.
I
Yeah,
think
for sure.
as of now, I think we should move on to Group
B.
B. Yeah.
I'm sorry, podcast listeners, but our most valued asset, Dr. Statistic, has to leave us now. He's a family man after all. He's got commitments. And
No, Prem.
Prem,
no.
you can just sign out to all the people listening.
Well, thank you guys. We've had around 450 views or listens on. And
478.
478. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we're really happy. Good feedback will inspire us. Bad feedback will improve us. So just make sure that you get some feedback in.
Damn, that's deep, yo. We're losing out on all this deep profoundness.
So I gotta go this time, and hopefully we'll be back for episode 3. See ya.
Yeah, see ya, man.
See you, Prem Kumar. This LPG podcast has been pre-recorded at the AAT College on 19th June, and it's powered by Play Fantasy. Folks, we already found a substitute for Dr. Statistic. I'm not too sure about the content. This one's going to give all the way from Memphis to Dubai. We
Malu
have
alert,
the
guys.
Baba Ray.
Baba knows all.
Hey. Welcome, Remus.
Remus is also a United fan and currently they're overpowering us.
Glory, glory, Man United. Glory, glory, Man United.
So it takes 3 United fans to sing that song.
You know when 3 is a
You want me to get started? No.
Alright, then let's get into Group B.
Okay, so
Zishan's
Group
got all
B
the
has
dishes
got
for you.
England, Wales, Slovakia, and Russia. So I'm gonna talk primarily about England now because that's the league that we follow. That's the player. Those are the players that we know. So personally speaking, from what I've seen England play in this tournament, this is the best they've played as a team in any international tournament that I've seen.
Not saying much.
Yeah, but okay. So, but
Not
that's
bad bubble top.
so, but team chemistry wise, and Rooney playing in midfield, spraying the passes around, Dele Alli, linking the play between him and the striker. I think they've stumbled onto their first choice formation, which is without Sterling. And yeah, they need to start with Sturridge for sure. Then that's what I see happening in the next game. I'd still give Kane another game.
So it's going to be Sturridge with Kane.
So it is
Yeah.
Sturridge on the wing.
Sturridge
Or
on the
4-4-2.
wing.
No Vardy.
Sturridge on the wing.
Yeah.
No Vardy.
That didn't work out for...
No. When they played in the second game, it was Vardy up top and Sturridge played off the left.
No Vardy.
No,
came
they
in.
played a 4-4-2 most.
They played a 4-4-2
No,
then.
when they brought Rashford on, it was 3 forwards.
Right. That's
So when
that point,
Vardy
yeah.
was the focal point and Sturridge and Rashford were like
Wing,
the attacking 4-3-3 basically, which is what I see happening. Sturridge replacing Sterling, and I'd still keep Kane up front. Give him one more game just for the reason
But
that he's
shouldn't
come off.
Vardy is more hot on form, right?
Yeah,
Shouldn't
but
he-
you need to have some tricks up your sleeve if things aren't going well. You can't have.
Doesn't Kane provide that? I mean, I'm just saying there's
No,
going to be
Kane-
a certain level of directness.
So
I
I feel that you save Vardy for when the defense is tiring and then have him run behind.
feel. Okay, super sub.
So, yeah, super sub, and that's why you need to praise Hodgson because he actually made the gutsy decision of playing Rashford when they were chasing the result against against Wales. It's an easy thing to put.
Gutsy indeed. Right?
No, it would have been an easy replacement for him to put Jack Wheelchair and all these guys.
You're over-exploiting that.
so-
We laughed once, that was done.
Let me get this straight, Z.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You want Kane up front and Sturridge on the right, and who on the left?
Lallana on the left. I think
Lallana.
he deserves it for the way he's been
Lallana
playing.
has been good. Lallana has been playing very well.
So and like post 60 minutes, depending on the state of the game, you either bring on Rashford or Wilshere or
Vardy.
or Vardy. So that's what I see happening with England going forward. Wales, on the other hand, I think Bale hasn't been that involved as he should be. Granted, he scored 2 free kicks. Both you could debate whether goalkeepers are at fault, but he needs to drop back more. In the formation that they play, he's been like the most upfront, and the ball doesn't reach him often enough. And like it says a lot when England is dominating possession against you and stuff like that. So
It's the way they play. I mean, that
No, he's
doesn't
playing the
necessarily
Cristiano
mean that-
role. I think so. He's
yeah,
playing
but
that Cristiano role.
I personally feel for them to have any shot of like going further in the tournament, he needs to drop back
Yeah.
more and pick up the ball, run at people. That's what his strength is.
I don't know. I don't think that he should really be coming in deep because see, another thing that has happened. Another thing that I noticed was Aaron Ramsey. He ran his socks off that day. He ran his socks off. He ran around 12.36.
Did anyone see Ramsey tripping and falling, and then the ball went to the other guy, and that guy tripped and fell, and he scored, and Ramsey's like, "Yeah, I meant to do that."
Yes, I saw
You
him
must have
falling.
used Cockness as binoculars to see that.
Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Fluked one goal. And that. Let's talk about Ramsey.
Cochrane binoculars.
But Ramsey did play. He was very well.
He was
he was a runner.
12.36 kilometers. That's how much he ran.
That's quite.
That's. I think that's definitely the most anybody has run in this tournament.
Yeah, maybe he's running behind Rooney when he kept beating him all the time.
Yeah, if he's running like 4 kilometers more than everyone else, why is he running that much?
He's trying to win the ball to feed to Bale. That's obviously the game plan there. Ledley is also compromised with the injury that he's coming back from.
Dude, when you have Ledley and you have Joe Allen playing alongside you.
The Welsh Xavi.
So you
Pirlo,
need Ramsey to
The
do.
Welsh Xavi or
Welsh Pirlo.
Welsh
Pirlo.
Pirlo, Xavi, he's
What
all
is
in
it?
one, dude. He's just Welsh.
Pirlo because of the beard. It's Pirlo because of the beard.
No, he has
No,
a beard now.
Yeah, that's why. It's
It's the
Pirlo.
hair and the beard, no?
Yeah.
Wait, one more thing I want to bring up in Group B is like the standout player in this entire group has to be Hamsik.
Yeah.
From what he's been doing, the runs he made against Wales,
Class.
Yeah. the goals he scored against Russia, it's like he's on another level compared to everybody else on that group. See, how far do you guys think England is going to go this time?
They're gonna win.
They're going to win, exactly. Euro 2016 is England.
Wait, can I? Yeah, I
I
haven't
mean,
said anything.
the
So they
only
can
team
get-
who could have won the league was Netherlands, but they didn't qualify. Otherwise, they would definitely won it.
So they're just not delusional about United, they're just delusional about everything in life.
I have a feeling they're going to go to the semis, and that's where it gets tricky because I don't know if they have the, the squad depth and the experience, because most of the players are now from Tottenham and mostly youngsters. So I don't think they have the experience to, grind out a result maybe in the
Why would you
semis.
say Tottenham on this podcast? Don't
By the
do
way,
it. He's opening it up for violence.
It's okay. It's okay.
Tottenham being brought in, I think Deer has been their standout player.
Walker as well.
For me, Deer personally, yeah, Walker has been good.
Yeah,
also.
Walker was the man of the match
But
for the
I
last
think
game.
why you haven't seen Dele Alli and Harry Kane at their best is because of a lack of a player in the mold of Eriksen. So in
Yeah,
in
true.
Tottenham, it was not only about these two guys. It was the trio. They three linked up well together. Eriksen actually took one for the team and moved out to the flank from number 10. He sort of played a Sanchez role there. He used to cut in and take those shots. And most of his goals, if you see, also were
From
low
the wing,
drives.
yeah.
Yeah. So the Dele Alli needs someone to give the ball to him.
True.
So he's someone who thrives on positioning. His positioning, the positions he takes up offensively are really good. So I think they need someone in that mold, and I think Wilshere will fill that.
One more thing I was telling these guys is Rooney playing in midfield. He's actually looking more assured than Lampard or Gerrard or whoever.
His
The
cross
false goals.
His crossfield passes are really
Paul
good.
Scholes was played on the wing in England.
No, but he's our new
But-
Paul
but
Scholes
yeah.
in the
No,
middle.
I know, I agree. I'm saying it's
Yeah,
such
man,
a
his long range passing is crazy.
Crazy, yeah. I know. And
I've
that
always been an
does it with so
advocate
much
style of
accuracy.
of Rooney going back into the midfield.
He doesn't have the
For 2
tackling that
seasons now.
Scholes had, though.
Yeah,
It's gonna be interesting to watch at United
tackling
next
of
season.
Scholes. Is that an attribute really? Bugger used to get so many cards, man. He should be sent off a lot more than he actually was sent off for.
See, the thing is, but for the goalkeeping errors that England have been, committing right from a long period of time, taking from Robinson and Robert Green, and now Joe Hart, taking that. I think that should, they should not, take things for granted. I think that will play a key role when they are moving forward, playing quarterfinals or semi-finals. These kind of errors should not be a cause for them to lose because the team is putting in a lot of effort than they have been doing, and I think they shouldn't, cause such stupidity to lose the game.
So moving on to Group A,
Right.
the group of the hosts.
Yeah. So as everyone has probably known, the hosts are leading their group. France, Switzerland, Romania, and Albania. This is actually a pretty open group. And we are not sure yet. We are going to find out tonight. I think so. 12:30. Yeah, France and Switzerland are playing to find out.
A lot of association being done.
It's only
So
because
West
of
Ham
pay. I
fan,
don't
don't-
think. I don't
No,
think
no.
he would have spoken about France had it been if not for pay.
No, see,
Paye leaves, he's going to start crying. Let him enjoy his moment.
yeah, Pai is not leaving. That being said,
Oh yeah.
France. You know what? I'll actually even throw a twist in. I'm not going to start with France and Switzerland. I'll go with Romania and Albania first. Bring out this thing to show that I can be an
Small clubs
all-round.
again. Very small clubs.
Expected from you, dude. Expected.
Albania have not scored a single goal yet in this entire tournament. They've had 3 goals scored against them, and they're the bottom of the group and probably the worst form team in the entire tournament.
Okay, enough about Albania. Next.
Yeah. So anyway, Romania have the leading striker. Means there are only 5 people who have scored 2 goals in this tournament so far, and one of them is the Romanian striker, Stancu. And
Penalties, both penalties.
yeah, still, but then it shows that Romania have more of a threat. So
Based
going
on
for-
that,
Yeah, they can dive in the
okay,
box.
With the
I have a
samples.
stat for you there. Albania had the least amount of shots on target in the qualifying, lesser than even Gibraltar. And they made it.
Yeah.
And they made it into the Euros.
So the point being,
The point being, yes. Of
The
four-
point being, he's trying to cover up for Prem.
Someone had to do it.
but worth
Local item, man.
now I'll move on to France and Switzerland. Now,
Thank you.
okay, yeah. To keep the Arsenal fans happy, the only other player other than Payet who has got man of the match twice is Granit Xhaka.
But why do you have to keep the Arsenal fans happy, dude? Because they're keeping you on the podcast or what?
The interesting thing
Mind your tongue now, Kobe.
Oh, there's some casting couch and all, huh? We know.
No, Zaka, come on, guys. He's coming into the EPL next season. He's someone we all have to watch out for. He is a very complete midfielder. Last game also, he created 3 chances. He completed 89 of 99 passes. He had, of which 17 were key passes.
But still, Arsenal awaits for the next season, dude.
And key thing here, I think, he's also good defensively. He won aerial duels and he had a lot of interceptions. But the main thing about Switzerland, which I think is really surprising,
Just a gem,
is the fact that even though Xhaka was the man of the match both the times, statistically wise, it wasn't Xhaka who was man of the match. I mean, he was selected as man of the match, but statistics wise, the first match, Jan Sommer played better than him. And this thing, if you go according to Opta,
Hey,
type of
Jan
stats.
Sommer goalkeeper.
Yeah, I know. He
What
was key
same
to their
statistics
this
at
thing.
least you should compare.
When
no,
you talk
before
about midfielders wise, I'm talking about influence to the team. He kept out a lot of
influence,
goals.
you're saying?
Yeah, as
no,
a team.
so
But then
Som-
statistics are like
My
mini
point
skirts,
is,
you know?
my point being that Switzerland is a very
gives a
complete team. They're playing very well completely. They are solid throughout. I think they've got a very good solid team and they could actually go far into the competition, maybe beyond the 16-2. Anyhow, so France, obviously, and now we go into the Payet talk. So yeah, second 2 games in a row. 2 games in a row and 2 games that Payet has been the man of the match and the most influential French player on the field. And 2 games where...
Take a breath, Mike. Take a breath.
Yeah, so yeah, the last match France played, I think Deschamps, he experimented a bit. He left out Pogba and Griezmann. But then, he realized that probably was a mistake. He brought in Martial in the second match.
That's
Martial
never
and
a
this
mistake.
thing. No, he played horrible. I think,
In all
he had a
honesty,
horrible
I watched
game,
that. Martial was lousy.
Yeah. I think France are key when Payet actually plays on the left. I mean,
He has, like you said, he has to stick to a 4-3-3. He tampered with it and he shifted to a 4-2-3-1 there.
No, I don't think it was tampering. I think it was more of he didn't really rate Albania. He thought they'd be able to get a result through.
He didn't
and
say that,
he can.
Post-match conference.
He didn't say that. He can't say that because
course he can't say that,
post-match? How can you say that? Considering they gave you a fight till the end.
Yeah.
If it went out really well, then he'd been like, yeah, I arrested Pogba, I arrested Griezmann. They're going to do well the next game.
So I think Payet can slot in on the right hand side as well, because in the first game both the goals that he was involved in came in from the right.
Yeah, crosses.
The cross from the right and the finish from the right.
Yeah.
So I think you still give a chance to Martial. Maybe not. Maybe not. As
Tony
a starter.
Marshall scores again.
the unfortunate thing about that is you see the people who they have to play on the
Not
right.
auto-tuning your voice. We are not auto-tuning your voice.
It's okay, dude. I don't ask for it to be auto-tuned, dude.
Please, enough.
But then the thing is, France have Griezmann and Coman as an option on the right. So if you're going to play Payet, you have to leave an option for Coman or Griezmann to play.
Dude, the 45 minutes that he played has to be the worst 45 minutes in the history of Euro 16.
Who
I
you-
saw him
No, what?
play.
Who you
Why
talking
are
about?
you
I'm
leaving
talking about
Sterling out?
Martial.
How can you
No,
leave Sterling
I
out?
can leave Sterling out because it's Martial, dude. We're talking about, dude. He, like 8 or 9 times, dude. He took on the defender and he failed.
No,
You
so
can't-
at least Martial did one move where he cut into his right and he could have actually done what he usually does. You know, he tries to pull off
Which
an
was
Henry.
started by Payet, by the way. Payet was the one who gave him the
come
ball.
on.
Henry,
Right.
da.
He didn't
Where
invent
you put-
finishing, Mike.
the curler, the left curler that Henry does so well, Martial picked off that trait from his Monaco days or whatever. Some Monaco youth coach must have taught him. So that day, that part alone he did decently. So apart from that, he was a complete dud. But Sterling, he has just produced nothing, man.
Yeah,
He's
Sterling has
been-
been
he's
horrible.
just- he's
Why are
the-
we talking about England now?
He's just been the worst player. No, I'm saying compared to Martial, Sterling is a much worse player. And Giroud, man, let's talk Giroud. What?
Oh, you want me to focus? Okay, no, I was going to get into Giroud.
Yeah, you should.
Okay, yeah. Giroud had 8 chances throughout this tournament so far and he's only scored 1.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what we do.
Yeah, if he scored 8 or 8, he
no.
would have been the best player in the world, dude.
In the second...
Did you see Giroud's goal? I mean, Giroud didn't see his goal. It hit the back of his head.
Wait, no, I'll say this. Okay, I'll tell you what I think about Giroud. Honestly, Giroud actually overall he played well. I think he did a very good job of coming back, winning headers to build up play. But the frustrating thing is when he gets the ball in the box, he's not able to hit. The second game he didn't have a single header on target.
Oh, dude, he hit
Open
the
headers.
post.
Yeah, one. That's not on target, dude.
I know
You're
that's
supposed
not
to
a target. You know, it's only a matter of inches there.
No,
He
but
could have scored a goal.
okay,
there.
fine. He had 5 chances.
So
in the
don't make him
second game.
sound worse than you.
He had 5 chances.
Then he ought to sound. Ought to sound.
Sound worse than he already is.
Ought to sound.
No, I think he could do better. It's actually
True.
It's me
Pai
saying
also
that
can
he
do a
should
little bit better, I think. Pai,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
not up. Yeah.
He gives the ball to him
chill,
and he doesn't
chill.
score. Yeah, that's the same argument you use for Ozil, right? He could do better. That's why he didn't break.
Okay,
orders.
relax, fanboys.
Dude, you're a West Ham fan. I rest my case. I'm not talking to. I'm not
It's the
going to
West
talk
Ham
to Petty.
player who is holding France up right now.
Okay,
That's
good for
my
France.
case.
That
Good
has
for
happened,
France.
And here's the
Hey,
thing.
be
okay,
nice.
another thing.
This is his last podcast. Be nice.
No, it's the last chance to be mean at me. That being said, I think France actually still, even though they've got maximum points, they still have way to go in terms of improvement. Their defense still has creates a little bit of. They have a bit of errors here and there. They're not that reliable yet.
Because of Koscielny, probably.
Yeah, honestly, the funny thing is, Rami has actually looked more solid than Koscielny so far.
At least he found his voice.
Yeah, but that being said, between Giroud and Gignac, I still pick Giroud. Gignac was very
Thank
slow
you,
when he came
Mike.
on. No, when he came on, he was horrible.
Thank you. That fellow plays in Mexico someday. Same room la irukudadu.
Exactly.
Sorry, my Tamil is bad.
Now, honestly, I think a lot of French fans would be cursing the fact that Benzema's not in their squad right now. But yeah, hopefully they pick up so far, and yeah, Payet for man of the
Giroud will
man of the
score
tournament.
when it matters. You wait and watch.
He didn't score in the second match.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. No,
It
you won.
mattered.
You won. You won. Period.
First game.
You
What
won.
you want?
Yeah, he's not going to score every game. He's not Messi, obviously.
Even in Arsenal terms, right? When they're trying to win first, that's when Giroud won't score. When they have to reach fourth, Giroud's your man.
I'll put it as simple
Hey,
as
look,
this.
Giroud
Kerala.
fly in and score hat-trick and all.
No, I'll put it as simple as this. Right now in the Euros, the fans in Europe, the French fans have a song for him, which I don't know the exact lyrics, but it goes something on the lines of 1 in 4 Giroud. Okay, so it's basically they themselves who are claiming Giroud is a striker who's only good for 1 out of 4 chances given.
But he missed 8.
So,
Already underperforming.
And one last stat to Payet thing. He has right now he's 1 chance away from away from Zidane's record for the Blues
Yeah,
for
I
most
saw
number
that.
of
14 or
chances.
something.
Yeah, he's 14 now. Zidane had 15 throughout an entire Euros, and this is 2 matches. So yeah, Payet could break that.
But Zidane was balding.
Yeah. So is Payet. I don't know if you noticed, he
that
doesn't
counts
have
for
hair.
something.
on
you
his
should use
head.
coconut oil.
I have to say this now. Kerala is famous for coconuts, guys.
Yeah, he should go to Kerala. Get some hair treatment. Scalp
Janky, you're
treatment.
gonna get
Okay.
beaten up soon.
But seriously, this is the last time I assure you, listeners, that we talk about Payet as much as we have. He's going away. He's going all the way to some northeastern part of India. Goodbye and good riddance, man. Dimitri Payet, I love you, Bubble Top. I love you.
Hey, Bubble Top caught on, right?
People have been calling me that wherever I go.
All
It's a
right,
cute name, Mikey.
it fits. So, also, I'd like to give a shout out to Remus here for filling in. And
Kerala is famous for coconuts.
my man Kevin, who's our sound engineer. And for every podcast yearning to be successful, there are a couple of sound engineers who've got to make you sound good, basically. I mean, even you, Zishan.
And Censor Shanky, of course. Yeah, that's my job.
There's a lot of that. Thank you very
you're
much. And also, we like to thank the AAT College for providing us with the amenities that they do, for letting us come in here every Sunday and make complete fools of ourselves.
AAT.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll teach you the way to sing it, Mikey, next time.
That's another session, which I don't want to be a part of. And so, you guys want to say your Twitter handles? Tell people how they can reach you.
Yeah.
Start off with Mikey.
Yeah, so you guys can reach me at NJLDST at Twitter, and just follow me. And yeah,
that Twitter handle sounds like an ATM pin number. I don't know what that is, dude. But fair enough. He'll follow you back like you heard from him.
And guys, please, if you do listen to it, please come in with
You
your...
had to do the stalkerish voice when you had to say follow you back, is it? You could have at least saved them off by not doing stalker voice, but fair enough. You know what sort of person he is.
Please comment in, guys. Please comment in. We always appreciate your feedback whenever we can get it.
We do. And
So, hey guys, you can reach out to me on Twitter at SHANCHORMAN, that is Shankerman.
the Shankerman.
Oh, yeah, it's the Shankerman, sorry.
I follow him, so I know.
Thank you.
Always follow.
Good
him.
show, guys. See ya.
Okay, you guys can reach out to me at Shapra4321. That is SHAPRA 4321.
Yet another alias.
Yes. Okay, and thanks a lot for having me on the show.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at TZShananis. That's TZEESHANANWS. See you next time.
I don't know how to use Twitter, but you can find me walking up and down Pondi Bazaar. Spend my whole life here.
If you see a Mallu in Pondi Bazaar, it's him.
Anyway, thanks for having me on, guys. Yeah.
Pleasure to have you.
Yeah.
And you can tweet at me at the handle supreme_commish. That's SUPREME_COMMISH.
How'd you get that?
I got it. Not bad, no? Pretty decent.
Right. Okay.
Alright, so that's a wrap. It's been pandemonium here. We hope you liked what you saw and what you heard. Sorry.
We'll send you pictures of
nice.
video if you want to see
Yeah,
what
see.
you're hearing.
No, don't.
Some good stuff, of course.
Alright, see you guys. This is the LPG signing out.
Ti amo Brasil Salta. Vamos hacerlo todo. Brasil.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Brasil.